So just to make this even prettier, we will do a post-process. Didn't I show you that the last time? No? Okay. So post-processing stack is the new way of using image effects. Image effects are deprecated. They don't work anymore in Unity. So if you download the image effects, it will literally have a little text file in there that just goes, haha, it doesn't work anymore. I don't know why they even bother having the package. But anyway, you need to go to the asset store and you need to search for post-processing stack. Post-processing. And it is this one, post-processing stack. Unity, it's free, you just download it. And you just install the package. Now I already have it installed here. See there, post-processing stack here. And I already have a post-processing thing, but I'll show you what it does. Let's go back to the scene. So in post-processing stack, I'm going to delete this. This is an old one. On the camera, you need to add a component. And the component is post-processing behavior. This one. So it's got a post-processing behavior and it has a profile here. And it's blank. So you need to create a profile for it. And a profile basically just tells it how to post-process. So right-click anywhere in the project, create post-processing profile here. Cool. Enter. And there it is. And all you need to do is drag that into the camera, into the post-processing behavior here. Cool. So it's on there. Nothing is on right now, so it doesn't do anything. So the first one I can do is anti-aliasing, which you may not be able to see very well on screen. Y'all know what anti-aliasing does, right? Jaggy edges, smooths them out. Alright, so if I turn that on, I can see it here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you? Awesome, okay. So there's FXAA, and I don't know what temporal anti-aliasing is, but you can go extreme quality. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, to be honest, from what I can see. But anyway, it does work. So you see it like kind of smoothing out the jaggy edges. So that's one thing. We have ambient occlusion. Now, this ambient occlusion is different from the ambient occlusion map that we put on. The ambient occlusion map that we put on is very precise and it goes exactly where we want it to. This is like a real-time ambient occlusion, so it may not work that well, but it usually does do a pretty good job. I don't know if you can see. Let me make it really intense. So you can see it just kind of giving more shadows, but it's adding it to areas that you might not want ambient occlusion to be on. Just make it really obvious. There you go. See that? So that's a really, really over-the-top ambient occlusion, just so you guys can see it. But it basically kind of does a real-time calculation and adds shadows where it thinks there should be shadows, if that kind of makes sense. Cool. So that's ambient occlusion. I'm going to leave this pretty one for last. We've got depth of field, which is just like stuff that's further away is blurred. You have like a little focus distance where it focuses to. And the aperture, if anyone is a camera buff, the higher the aperture, the more depth of field you get, so more things are in focus. The less the aperture, the less things are in focus. Now, this doesn't seem to be working. If I use camera FFV, is this working? Focus on, doesn't seem to be working very well. But it should just make stuff far away blurry. Motion blur will only work for movement. It blurs stuff. You all know what motion blur does. Bloom is the important one. So if I turn on bloom, you see Liam starting to glow a bit because Liam's giving off light, and the intensity can be changed here, so you can get real intense and real cray cray. The threshold is basically the limit at which things start glowing. So if the threshold is lower, everything will glow. If the threshold is really high, only really, really bright stuff will glow. So that will just control where it glows. So you might want the threshold to be pretty high, like it is, so only like this spot glows. Liam doesn't glow because he doesn't glow that much. Only like the really hot spots will glow. Or you might want it low so everything glows. Yeah, basically, right? So it depends on what you want. There's bloom. Color grading is basically an overall color grading for everything. You can control your blacks, so higher blacks, lower blacks, higher white, lower whites. I know, yeah. Temperature is the overall temperature, so that's I'm gonna do. This is way too much, but if you're gonna do like something like Skyrim where it's cold, what? Yeah, it is an ice level. That's literally what they do. Like ice level, desert level, ice level, desert level. That's literally what they do. Straight up what they do. Yeah. Go look at the any desert movie, and put all the desert movies next to all like all the Arctic movies. It's straight up like, wait.
The best thing to show you example is the National Treasure.
Oh, yeah, just.
That's nice part. Winter part.
Wait, color grading. I'll just do movie color grading. Yeah, desert, cold. Straight up like a blue filter. It's really obvious when you see them side by side. When you're watching it, it's not that obvious. And especially when I do the slider, it's really obvious here. But when you jump in game like this, you actually don't really notice it that much, even though I have the slider like almost all the way up to 100. So especially if it's really subtle, people don't really cop that much, but it is very important. So here it looks boring as hell and really generic on the left, but after color grading, it's got this like intense fucking blue action movie. And they always do blue for action movie. I don't know why. It's like dark, high contrast and blue. It's why what?
Every Marvel movie looks like cement.
It doesn't look like cement. It doesn't.
So it's like the newer ones are better.
So here's an example. Color corrected makes it the correct color. Color grading. So it's the original. It's slightly. You see, it's slightly yellowy. So they color correct, so it's the right color, and then they grade it, so it's like blue. I don't know what that movie is. Where is Unity? So I can also do contrast here. Everything's real contrasty, and saturation. So everything's real, really, really bright. Or I can do like gritty. Let's do. This is Call of Duty. In Call of Duty, everything is green. So we tint it all green. It's green. There we go. And temperature a bit lower. We are now in a Call of Duty game. AAA. And you can shove over these channels as well to tweak them. More green, Call of Duty. Alright, cool. So that is color grading here. Alright. And then we have, I don't know why chromatic aberration is such a thing, but if I turn that on, I'll need to zoom in a little. And intensity. Alright, so can you see that? It's kind of more used for like TV screens and stuff. It does the whole VHS effect where like colors are a bit offset to each other and there's like a little outline. You can see here, especially look here, where there's like a yellow glow. I drop down the intensity, it just makes it look a bit like a crappy video screen. I think that's why they use it for. And you can also add your own texture on it.
How come all the advances in graphics we do is to make it look like
because the shittier something else looks, and it's a trick that everyone uses, including photographers all the way back to when, including painters do it as well. The crappier something looks like it's supposed to be, the more you can hide like defects. Yeah, like my teapot looks legit now with all this color grading, but when it was there by itself, it looked like a pile of crap. But with all this stuff, it looks pretty cool. Don't say anything. Grain is here, and it just does like this animated grain here. I don't know if you can see that black and white thing. Oh, let's make a silent movie. That's my saturation. Silent movie.
It's kind of bluey, isn't
It is quite bluey. I think that's because I have the blues down here. Yeah, I have to. There we go. Closer to. They were, so let's exposure should be here. Post exposure. There we go. It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, well I can dump back down the red. They were CPIE though. Yeah, let's do CPIE. And then the contrast wasn't high because it was old school days. So we got low contrast here. The shadows, that would be in the ambient occlusion. So let me just make the intensity there. And that's pretty good. And let's do a vignette because again, old school days. So vignette, and vignette kind of just darkens the corners, and you can increase the intensity here as well. Straight up is. Smoothness is just how faded it is, and there we go. So straight up old school movie. Dithering is, y'all know what dithering is? It's like used in pixel art a lot. So this, like, the colors, you need a, I've never got it to work though. Oh, grayness and
You don't need this. Hey, what you doing? Hey, what you doing?
yeah, I don't know.
Get out of here.
I love when Unity does these little things of like, you know what you're doing, get the fuck out. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off all of these, because I want to show you the last one, which is like legit my favorite thing. This post-processing profile? Absolutely, that's exactly why they moved it to this. So this I can change, like this will be sepia, and at runtime I can swap between the profiles. So like the most common use is, let's say I'm above water and I splash on the water, and as soon as I hit on the water, the X value of the camera, I swap in that new color profile. Post-processing used to be very expensive. This new one is a lot better. This actually works quite well on mobile. It is expensive because it is still doing it above. Not as extreme as it used to be. So this one that I'm showing you now is very expensive, but it is also so good. I'm just going to make a little cube here. Oh, I need to turn off the bloom for the... Oh, God. Bloom, 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 bloom. Where's the bloom? There we go. Alright, no more bloom. So, here's my cube, right? What? Looks awful.
Bloom back on and then just lower it eventually.
Okay.
What's going on with the shadow?
Yeah, the shadows don't work that... It's because there's a little gap here, so it's shining through. So that's why you got to be careful with your... Got to be real careful.
We just used the default 3ds Max default.
Okay, cool. And I'll just dump this down. Yeah, it was the default 3ds Max one. It does by default have a little... Just this little ring here doesn't quite meet. That's why the shadows are all fucked up. So don't do that. Make it good. Okay, put it there. Cool. And you see the ambient occlusion is working. It kind of intensifies the shadow as it gets closer. So that real-time ambient occlusion does work quite well. Off, on. So it does do quite a bit, right? It's quite useful. Let me just drop the intensity of that. So it's pretty handy. So, to make sure this is really obvious, I'm going to give this cube a shiny-ass material. And make that smooth. Alright, so it's really, really shiny. And let's make it real metallic. So it's really, really shiny. It should be reflecting my teapot, but it doesn't, because for that you need a whole bunch of stuff. Now that last post-processing that I had here, if I turn on SSRR, screen space reflection, boom. See that? It's got a little teapot reflection. You see the reflection? Can you see it?
Oh, it does.
Isn't it so legit? I turn it off. Looks kind of like, it's a teapot on top of a thing. Turn it on. Oh wow, shiny floor. And it's really, really cool. Especially when you have multiple shiny materials. So if I duplicate this, come on, buddy, don't die on me. Let me make that blue in color. Boom. Okay, so you've got like everything is reflecting on everything else. Let me just make that bigger so you can see the teapot. So you can see that you can kind of see the teapot reflected in it, not really. Just move it over there. Maybe it'll work better over here. Does it work better there? The what? Yeah, it is. Tiny bit. But anyway, it is reflecting down the bottom. So especially when you got a lot of stuff and you have like a smooth marble floor, it's really cool, that SSRR thing. It does work really well. It is quite expensive, but not as expensive as it used to be. So it's a fancy little thing. Let's just turn everything back on. Color grading, chromatic aberration, grain, vignette. Yay. Oh no, it's blocking Liam. We don't want that.
Can't have that.
Can't have that. Oh shit, wrong cube.
Wrong cube.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey. Alright, and that is basically post-processing stack.
Put it in play mode so we can see.
And I can swap out post-processing stack at runtime. So if I create a post-processing profile, Call of Duty, and I can just in here, and you can do it in code as well. Just swap it out. Where do you go? Just straight up swap it out, and it's gone back to normal. Cool. What is going on?
Yeah, they heard that. They're like, oh my god.
It's very, very, very good. It's very good. How do I rotation?
This is our bad.
Oh, so good. I feel like I need a That's All Folks or something.
Get a Slenderman, what's called model animated move across. Make sure the animation's bad also.
And the grain should be animated. Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright, cool. So we'll leave it there for today. That's quite a lot of stuff we've learned today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.